जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक आचार्य अष्टोत्तरशत श्री श्रीमती स्वामी ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की ISKCON व BBT संस्थापकाचार्य सेवर ऑफ द होल वर्ल्ड जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक आचार्य अष्टोत्तरशत श्री श्रीमती स्वामी ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we have a very great fortune to have with us His Grace Sanatana Dharma Prabhu with us today. So I'll just introduce Prabhuji's short introduction. So Prabhu is a teacher of higher Vedic sciences and studies at ISKCON NVCC Pune, and he's been a spiritual practitioner from last 15 years. He's been 15 years practicing, and he holds a BTech degree from NIT Trichy, and then later he worked in Tata Motors and as a senior production manager and customer support manager. He has also been trained in various like martial arts and for in coming years, and he can converse in almost more than 8 languages. So Prabhuji knows Telugu, Marathi, Tamil, Kannada, English, Hindi, so many languages, and he is a gold medalist in Bhagavat Gita recitation for consecutive 4 years. So we have a great fortune. And after being inspired by the teachings of His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu, his Siksha Guru, about scientific presentation of God conscious philosophy, he took the teachings of Bhagavad Gita in his life seriously and practicing it. And then currently he lectures at various places all over India, and his lectures are full of practical applications and of timeless wisdoms. So Prabhuji currently takes programs for youths, corporates, and leaders at various places. Topics like proactive leadership, self-management, positive thinker, time management, and various value education topics. And he also speaks on core spirituality from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and other Vedic literatures. And he's a teacher of various courses like Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, and all. So, and he visits various educational institutions all over India and also multinational companies. And he like various colleges. And currently, Prabhuji is holding a position of Secretary of Youth Outreach Program and Project Development Head of North Zone of Pune. And he is a certified teacher of applied and higher Vedic sciences and award certification, and former in charge of personality development course batch at NVCC Pune. And Prabhuji is the initiator of the Impact. Like Impact is inspiring mass preaching and corporate training. This was the program launched by Prabhuji, and also Folk, Family of Lord Krishna. So let us welcome Prabhuji at this place and hear the message of Srimad Bhagavatam by loudly chanting 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरं परमानन्दमाधवम्। Hare Krishna. I feel really fortunate and blessed to be yet once again there. वहाँ हिंदी, यहाँ English, and somehow you removed my friend from here. जानबूझ के. No time नहीं time होना चाहिए. Krishna says time I am. But anyways, thank you so much once again for coming and giving this opportunity to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. So yesterday we discussed on Canto 1 and we tried to see an overview of first canto of Bhagavatam. Can I have some points from all of you very quickly, what you appreciated or what you would assimilate? Some points, anything. Jo acha laga, you can definitely say. Huh? SAP. Yes, we realize what exactly is the real SAP. What is SAP? It is not systems and Satyagopal will know what is SAP. Kya hai, Prabhuji? No, nobody was able to answer. IT. Magar batta IT. You are.
No, SAP. Kaun sa wala SAP?
Wait, IT wala.
SAP is a system.
हाँ, क्या है वो system? कोई नहीं answer कर पाता. Automated process. Okay, that's what the answer Lata Mataji also gave. That is our Sambandha Abhidhe Prayojan Gyan. That's how we started. What is SAP? Very nice. You like SAP. Yes. Anyone else? Yes. Difference between Muni and Mahamuni. Muni is finger on the lips. Mahamuni is constantly speak, but about Krishna. Very good. Then anyone else? Yes, we discussed the 6 questions. There were such a bhari bharkam questions that Suta Goswami was forced to pull out Srimad Bhagavatam. और कोई चलने नहीं वाला यहाँ पे. Yes. Then good points. You're all revising very good points. Yes. So Bhagavatam very clearly points towards, because scriptures are like our Shrutis, scriptures, they are like mothers. And we are like children of the mother. And mother always will point towards who is your father. So right in the first line, it is pointed who is God. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Vasudev. Very good. Anyone else? Essence of all scriptures. Why Vyas wrote Bhagavatam. Thank you online participants for your wonderful points. Anybody else? 2 or 3 more I'm looking for. What is? Yes, this was a question. The second set of questions. What is Srimad Bhagavatam? Who compiled it? And you were saying something? Yes. So we discussed about the Purusha Avataras, Leela Avataras. What are they? Okay, we saw that. And yes, we spoke about how Parikshit Maharaj, his birth, his activities, and how he got his name. Very nice. About Kali. What kind of rasa he had with Kali? My God. Hare Krishna. Yes. Hare Krishna. Yes, Kali. I think Kali is felt bad. Hare Krishna. That's okay, fine. Good. Being stoned, being teased, and being practically surrounded by women and children was a personality who was dressed in directions. We never ever say that a person is naked. No, in Shastras. We say that a person is dressed with direction. So direction is his dress. Who is that person? Shukadeva Goswami, dressed in directions. What about four Kumaras? Four Kumaras are also dressed in directions. So dressed in directions means no dress. There's one more personality who's dressed in direction, but nobody will dare to call him naked, because if you call him naked, he will curse you. Who is that? Durvasa Muni. That's why they say he's not dressed properly. Durvas. Acha dress nahi pen ke aaya. Durvas. He's also naked like that. In scriptures we find this kind of personalities. Dressed in direction. Navayogendras. Dressed in directions. And because he was dressed in directions, people felt he's a madman, nutcase. So they chased him. But as soon as this personality, Shukadev, a 16-year-old boy, he entered into this assembly wherein there were rishis, there were maharishis, there were devarishis, there were all kinds of people, Brahma rishis, all of them were there. And as soon as this boy entered, everybody stood up to welcome him, except two. Who are they? Vyas and Narad. Because Vyas is his father and Narad is his teacher. So they both did not stand up. But everybody else stood up to welcome. And then Parikshit Maharaj asked those two questions, which I told you yesterday. What did he ask? What should be heard, chanted, remembered, and worshipped, and what should not be? So this was the question where we yesterday paused. So as soon as Shukadeva Goswami opens, the first thing that he says, congratulations, Varyaneshate Prashna, Krita Loka Hitam Nripa, Atmavat Sammata Pumsam Shrotavyadishu Yapparaha. What a question have you asked? Thank you so much for this very wonderful question. So he glorifies the question of Parikshit Maharaj and he says that this is the best question to be asked. Varyaneshate Prashna. Why? Krita Loka Hitam Nripa. This is going to do benefit to every single person, to every single human being. That is why this is Loka Hitam Nripa. Atmavit Sammata Pumsam. All the people who have assembled here for self-realization, everyone will accept that these are the questions whose subject matter is supposed to be discussed. Yes. And finally, he says, Shrotavyadishu Yapparaha. This is the best subject matter to hear. And then he goes on to speak first what should not be done. Shrotavyadishu Rajendra Nam Sahastri Santataha Apashyatam Atma Tattam Griheshu Grihamedinam. There are so many topics for discussions. Prajalpa. Don't do it. Nidriya Nriyate Naktam Vyavayena Chavavayaha. Riya Charte Hiya Rajan Kutumba Barahenava. Just don't simply waste your night in sleeping and having sex and your daytime in just working and maintaining family. Don't just do this. So he completely tells us what not to do first. He also says very clearly that Deha Patya Kalatradishu Atma Saineshu Asutsapi Tesham Pramatto Nidanam Pashyan Napina Pashyati. See, if you think that, and of course, now this is a very famous concept, Hum do, Hamare do. Ye kaun? Hamari team. This is our Atma Saineshu. And person has complete faith that Hamara 1 plus 2 will protect me. 1 plus 2 will be there for me, but they are all fallible soldiers. Deha Apatya Kalatradishu Atma Saineshu. They people feel they are my Atma Sena. They will protect me. Meri Sena bana raha hu main. But they are fallible soldiers. And in presence of such soldiers, Pashyan apina pashyati. Despite everything being as crystal clear, one person will not be able to see the truth. So this is how one should not be. Not to be. Then what should I do? तस्मात् भारत सर्वात्मा भगवान ईश्वरो हरिः श्रोतव्य कीर्तितव्यश्च स्मर्तव्यस्य इच्छता अभयम. Do these three activities. What is that? The activities of Shravanam, Kirtanam and Smaranam. These three things you are supposed to do. Yes. About whom? Bhagavan, Ishvara, Hari. So that way we need to understand one more thing very clearly, that the audience who is sitting, like here the audience, they're all wonderful devotees. But the audience who is sitting, they were not devotees. They were Gyanis, they were yogis, and they were devotees also. So he had to be very sensitive to the other parties who were there. So Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma. He calls Krishna as Sarvatma because Sarvatma means one who is everywhere, the Brahman. So the Gyanis were very happy. Chalo, hamara aa gaya idhar. Then the yogis who were sitting there, for them he says Ishvara, controller, because they're after that. So unko bhi, they are also satisfied. And the devotees, he calls it very straight, Bhagavan Hari. So he was continuously satisfying everyone. Everyone said, yes, yes, hamara bhi aa gaya. Hamara number bhi aa gaya. So they were all very much in sync with the topic. Now one may ask a question that why do we have to do these three things? Yes, why to hear, why to chant, why to remember the Lord? So that is when he says, Etavan Sankhya Yoga Abhyam Swadharma Parinishtaya Janma Labha Parapumsam Ante Narayana Smriti. The goal, because you need to understand that life is a preparation and death is an examination. You prepare by doing these three activities, but ultimately the exam is Ante Narayana Smriti. At the end, we have to remember Narayan or Krishna. This is the end that we want to reach. And this is this is like the life is a preparation. You do prepare with these three things. Now somebody may say, come on, we don't have time for all these three things. What if we cannot fit in these three things in our system? ये तीन चीजें नहीं कर पाएंगे. कुछ एक बताओ. Tell us one thing. Yeah, I was expecting that question. So Shukadeva Goswami says very clearly, Etan nirvidyamananam ichchata kuto bhayam yoginam nrpa nirnitam harer namanu kirtanam. If you don't have time for all these three things, don't worry. Do one thing. What is that? Kirtan. But in Kirtan also there are three types of Kirtan. There is Guna Kirtan, there is Leela Kirtan, there is Nam Kirtan. Which Kirtan is the most powerful? And Shukadeva Goswami very clearly says the most powerful Kirtan is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So it tells very clearly that this is the Kirtan you are supposed to do. Then Parikshit Maharaj got a question. Hey Gurudev, time both come hai. I just have 7 days. Shukadeva Goswami says, Khatvanga Rama Rajarshir. There was a Rajarshi called Khatvanga. His entire life he spent in fighting against the demons on behalf of demigods. He was fighting. And after some time, the demigods, they got a very nice, able commander-in-chief, Skanda. He came. And they said, thank you very much for your wonderful services, Prabhu. Now you can retire. But before you retire, we would like to offer you some gift. You would like to ask something. Khatvanga Raja says, please just tell me one thing. How much time do I have left? Just tell me that much. That will be a great help. He says, all right, we will check and let you know. So they check and say, we are very sorry to inform you, sir, that you just have 1 moment left. He says, really? Zup karke hi gayab. He goes to the earth. Because 1 moment on demigods planets, we will get few hours on the earth. Right? What happens is our 6 months is equal to 12 hours for the demigods. Uttarayan, the sun, when he roams in the upper hemisphere, that is the daytime for them. And when the sun comes in the lower hemisphere, that is the night time. So day, night. So there 24 hours is 1 year for us. So us calculation ke hisab se, at least 1 moment I have. If I go to the earth, I'll get few hours. So he went and there he perfected his life by doing this Nama Kirtan. So it is possible for a person with few hours. Parikshit, you don't have to worry. You have 7 days. So this is how, as a teacher, Shukadeva Goswami encourages and inspires Parikshit, don't worry. Time hai. Yes, it's just that you have to prepare. And then Parikshit Maharaj wishes to hear about, we chant. Definitely, we can chant. But what is the conception that we should have when we chant? What concept? Now, many people ask this question to us also. Right? आप बोलते हैं Hare Krishna महामंत्र जप करना है, तो मन में क्या सोचना चाहिए? Many people, how many of you heard this question? Very common question. What should we think? क्या सोच के करें हम chanting? So then, Now is the time, Shukadev Goswami says, good question. Now I have got an opportunity to make a level up for the Gyanis and Yogis. So first he says that for all those people who are able to know, everybody is waiting. Yes. For all those people, you need to understand everybody has to follow Ashta Anga. The first Anga is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So these 8 limbs everybody has to follow. Yes, Yam, Niyam, rules and regulations, do's and don'ts. Asan, yes, get your body right by doing asanas so that you can sit for a long time to do yoga. Pranayam, get a complete control of your prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana, the functionings of the life air. Get your system right first. So 5 life airs have different functions. One life air is to transport things down. One life air is to transport things up. One life air does the balance of both. One life. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Can you just look into it? Somebody is upset with me. I don't know. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Isko volume kam kar do. Vivek bro, just reduce the volume. Hare Krishna. I think that is fine. Is this okay? I think they are getting bombarded. They all should be comfortable. उनका कान जाएगा. Am I audible?
Yes.
Am I? So do we really need a mic? Online participants have this. Do I need a mic? Need a mic. क्या करें? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Reduce it, fine. Is this okay? No, some of them were feeling strained. That's why I didn't want to pain. Okay? Fine. So what was I telling? Yeah. Yam, Niyam, Asana, not then, yeah, Prana, Apana, Samana. Then there is one Pranavayu which takes care of our contraction and expansion, heart. It contracts and expands. So there's a life air for that. And there's also a particular life air for circular motions of the internal organs. So like this, everything is taken care. So you have to give proper exercise to that. That is called pranayam. Once that is in control, then you can lift the life airs above through the different chakras. So then pratyahara is very important. Pratyahara is giving up of material desire for enjoyment. Now here is where the discussion takes a proper turn. So some of them may not be able to give up the material desire for enjoyment. For such a person who cannot give up the desire for material enjoyment, they are recommended to do the dharana. Dharana means the conception of meditation on Virat Purusha, the impersonal Brahman form. So for whom is impersonal Brahman? Those having material desire but still want to do yoga. So such kind of Gyanis, because they are not yet purified, they take shelter of Brahman. So this is the first conception of God, Brahman. Now what is this Brahman? Many of times, how many of you heard this word Brahman and got frustrated? अरे ब्रह्मन हर कोई ये जो है ब्रह्म 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 अरे क्या है बता दो प्रभु जी क्या है व्हाट इज दिस ब्रह्मन यस ब्रह्मन मतलब सब कुछ now we need to understand what is Brahman. Brahman means in one sense the total energy of the universe is called Brahman, and that same energy is given an imaginary conception form is called Brahman. This includes the demigods. The 33 koti devatas each have their position. Surya, Chandra, they occupy the post. They have their position. The Indra occupies the hands. Upendra, the legs. Mitra Varunas, they occupy the genital and the lower part. So like that, all demigods have their position in the Brahman. Next. All the physical features like rivers, mountains, scenery achhi lagti hai na? The trees, all these places also occupy the position in the Brahman. Rivers are the veins of the Brahman. Trees are the hairs of the Brahman. Mountains are the bones of the Brahman. So like that, everything occupies place. What is the Varnashram also occupies place in the Brahman. Brahmanas, head. Kshatriyas, hands. Vaishyas, belly, and Shudras, legs. They occupy. So like this, they have also occupied the place in Brahman. What is the planetary system? The whole planetary system also occupies the place in the Brahman. Atala, Talatala, Vitala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. These 6 planetary systems are the lower part of the Brahman. Then Om Bhu Bhuva Swaha Visena. So Bhuloka, Nabhi. Bhuvarloka, the chest. Swargaloka, again up. Like that from Maharlok, Janalok, Tapalok, Satyalok. So like that, they occupy the entire ocean. So the Brahman is nothing but a conception of this universe. अभी इस पे ध्यान कैसे करते हैं? Please don't ask. That is not mentioned, and we don't even discuss. It's very hard to do that actually. That's why Krishna clearly says, don't do this. Because Arjuna asked him, what should I do? Should I meditate on that universal form or should I meditate on your form? Because he had seen both in the 11th chapter. Bhagavan, आपको या universal form? कृष्णा बोलते वो करेगा क्लेशो धिकतरस्तेषाम अव्यक्ता सक्तचेतसाम अव्यक्ता ही गतिर् दुःखम देहम अद्विद अवाप्यते. He tells very clearly अधिक क्लेश होगा तुमको. You do that impersonal meditation, you'll get क्लेश. बोला नहीं, क्लेश नहीं चाहिए, already बहुत है. I'm already frustrated because of this war. I don't want more kleshas. So I will meditate on the two-headed form, right, of the Lord. So that is the Brahman form. So this completes the first chapter of the second canto. So if you are having material desires, then we meditate on Dharana Ashray. This is called Dharana Ashray. That means whom do you meditate on? Dharana means to hold a conception for 12 seconds is called Dharana. उसको धारण कहते हैं. To hold a conception for 12 cross 12 seconds is called Dhyan, 144 seconds. And to hold a conception for 12 cross 12 cross 12 seconds is called Samadhi. Now this Samadhi word is very misunderstood. I just wanted to quote an instance that happened in my life. We were on a book distribution van party, and that was one of the most fiery book distributions we had. So I went out, it was many years back, and distributed one book, and first ball, chakka, like that we say, no? The first book that I gave, it got sold. I was so happy. Second book went, third book went. And when I went to go for the fourth book, there was a stone, which was a sharp stone that came in between my chappal and my leg, and it pierced me. Leg started bleeding. Sort of profuse blood came out. And I was not knowing what to do. I was not able to walk. So devotees suggested, Prabhuji, you sit inside the vehicle. I said, that's it. Retired hurt in 3 balls. Not good. 15 minutes mein retired hurt ho gaya. What is this? I was feeling so bad. But the pain was excruciating. It was a very sharp stone. And then I just went off to sleep. After I got up, I saw my dhoti full of 10 rupee notes, 20 rupee notes, 50 rupees notes, 100 rupees notes, and some 500 also. मैं उठ के देखा किसकी ये किसकी हरकत है? Who has done this to me? And I called the people there. Prabhu, what is this? मैंने कुछ नहीं, दक्षिणा दे दिया बाबा जी को. I said, what did you say that they came and put so much of money? Sir, बाबा ने समाधि ले ली. बाबा जी ने समाधि ले लिया. वो सुन के सब लोगों ने पैसे दे दिए. But that is not the samadhi we talk about. Samadhi means absorption in Krishna. I was absorbed in my pain. But still, a devotee may not be in samadhi, but even if he is acting like a samadhi, he can still do some book distribution. So, bete, being hurt, I could do some book distribution. I asked, did you all pitch? No, we only said samadhi. They only kept money. Humne maaga nahi. Hare Krishna. Coming back. Then suppose somebody is gone beyond material desires to enjoy it. Pratyahara stage is complete. He is able to complete his pratyahara. Then what to do? Now, pratyahara, if you have properly given up the material desires, then one is qualified to meditate on the Satchidananda Swarupa of Paramatma. So this Paramatma is explained. Now, can you all stretch out your thumb and your ring finger? Stretch it as much as possible and put it on your chest. That is your Paramatma. He's there. Only thing is you need a spiritual vision. This is mentioned in the Bhagavat. How he looks. Snigdaptavrit Ganashyamam Sarva Saundarya Sangraham Charvayata Chaturbahu Sujata Ruchirananam Padma Kosha Palashasam Sundara Brusu Nasikam. So like that, verses after verses give the beauty of the Paramatma who's there in the heart. The 8 inches form of Paramatma. Personally, software installed for all of us. And this app you can never delete. Yes, you can put on snooze. You can put in vibration mode, silent mode, but you can never delete this. No uninstalling feature available. So now what is the difference between a person who remains as a Brahma Jyoti? Now we may ask a question. Somebody remains in the Brahma Jyoti, meditating on impersonal Brahman, and somebody meditates on Paramatma, and they keep meditating. They do Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. What is the difference between these two? That difference is explained in the second chapter. The difference is somebody who is not being able to give up material desires and continues to meditate on Brahman, such a person attains mukti, but gradually and systematically. This is like taking a train. Train कैसे जाता है? Stop, second stop, and stop पे भी रुकता है, right? And then next stop, then again stop. So like that, this Bhagavatam describes 4 stops that it takes, the train. Yes? It talks about Vaishwanara Loka, Shishumara Loka, Maharloka, and then Satyaloka. Like that, 4 stops it takes. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary mentions there are 14 stops. Matlab bahut der lagega usko. And after these stops, then he will go to the earth. Out the universe, if you see, is covered by layers of earth, 10 times each increasing. Water, fire, air, ether, ego, and prakriti. Like the 7 layers, just like we have 7 layers for our body, 7, 8 layers are there outside this universe, each multiplying 10 times. Our universe diameter is 4. It's actually 500 billion yojanas. So into 8 miles, up look kar lo. 4 billion miles is the diameter of universe, and each 10 times more. That is the universe. So one goes to earth, then water, fire, air, ether, and finally he enters into the Nabi of Mahavishnu. Uske baad kya hota hai uske sath, it's not mentioned. That is called liberated. Which means there's no guarantee he's going to go back to Godhead. Nahin, itna hi bola gaya. He'll merge with Brahman after such a long time. On the other hand, what happens to Paramatmavadi? If he's meditating on Paramatma, fir kya hota hai? If he's going to meditate on Paramatma because he's attached to a personal conception, he will be liberated at the end of the life. And in case he develops some kind of appreciation for the Lord, then this person will get Shantarati in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, who becomes trees? They are these yogis. That is why if you read the Bhagavatam 10th canto, when Krishna and Balram, they are entering into the forest of Vrindavan, that time Lord Krishna describes these trees as great yogis. These trees have been great yogis in previous life. Why? Because they have attained the Paramatma realization, and thus they have come to the spiritual world. And after all this, Parikshit Maharaj still wants to know ahead. So now Jnanis have understood their place. Yogis have understood this place. Then where is Bhaktas? Where are they? So when it comes to Bhakti, he says, Nahi atonya shiva panta vishata samsrita viha vasudeve bhagavati bhakti yoga bhyato bhavet. There is nahi atonya shiva panta. There is no more auspicious path than bhakti, which means this is the best. This is the best path. And this I am not telling. Shukadeva Goswami says, I am not telling. Bhagavan Brahma Karsteya Trir Anviksha Manishaya. 3 times Brahma read the Vedas. And after reading Vedas for 3 times, can you imagine a person whose body is made of all intelligence only? He read it 3 times and came to a conclusion that Bhakti Yoga is the best path. This is not my realization. This is Brahma's realization. So then everybody agreed to this. And then they folded hands. Kya kare? So then the conclusion comes. Shukadeva Goswami smiles and he says, Pibantiye Bhagavata Atmanasatam Katamritam Punyakuputeshu Sambritam. Yes. Punati te teva vidhi vishu vidusha vishatayam vrajanti tat saroja saroruhananam. So he says that Pibantiye Bhagavata Atmanasatam. Always keep drinking Srimad Bhagavata. That is the best thing to do. Whoever you are, Jnani, Yogi, Karmi, don't worry. Just keep drinking this Bhagavatam as I'm keeping on serving this to you. And now somebody says, I have material desires. What to do? Hey, material desires, hey, mere paas. Kya kare? So, Shukadeva Goswami, he tells, yes, if you have material desires and you want to actually get a very good progeny, worship the Prajapatis. You want good education? Worship Saraswati. You want very good husband? Worship Shiva. You want very good wife? Worship Uma. You want a very nice marital relationship? Worship Urvashi. Aisa karke one after the other, he gives 8-9 verses and we think, oh my God, is this Bhagavatam or some other Puran? Change ho gaya. And then he declares that these are all path adopted by less intelligent people. Abhi acha laga humko. And then most intelligent people, what do? Akama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena jajeta purusham param. So those who are most intelligent, they may have material desires, may not have any material desires, or they may have desire to merge. Whatever it is, they will never ever give up worshipping Krishna. They will only worship Krishna. So this was clarified. So the bhakti path is established very beautifully in the Srimad Bhagavatam by Shukadeva Goswami, where he gradually gets everybody to the same platform. And then what happens is the sages of Naimisharanya, when they hear this path about bhakti, they become so jubilant. They dance and they start giving gali to those people who don't do bhakti with their limbs. This gali is worth discussing. Param param patta kirita jushtam. The turban they're just what useless people these people are. The eyes that do not see the Lord's form is compared to plumes of peacock feather. Jiva asati dadurukeva suta. The tongues that don't recite the holy name, they are compared to a frog's croaking, who will simply attract a snake, who will devour them and kill them. The ears that don't hear the sound vibration of Srimad Bhagavatam are compared to the holes where snakes reside. Yes, Jivan Shavo Bhagavatangri Renum Anatubatyo Adaveda Bastu Shri Vishnu Pradya Manujas Tulasya Swashan Api Save Naveda Gandham. So you are all living corpse, breathing corpse. If you don't hear the holy name, if you don't chant the holy name of Lord or the holy fame of Lord, or use your body for any kind of Krishna consciousness. Your legs are nothing but trees. Ye vriksh hai. They are trees. So Drumaha, they say like that, and they give thorough garli. And at the end of the gali, they talk about the heart. All organs are described: hands, legs, mouth, eyes, and everything. Ears. Finally, they come to heart. Tadasmasaram hrudayam vatedam na grihyamane harinamadeyam na vikriyeta tatatat vikaro netre jalam gashu ruheshu harsha. Come on. Such a heart is steel-framed heart which does not melt upon hearing about Krishna or chanting his glories. That's a steel-framed heart. Ideally, one should be crying tears of ecstasy and joy when we chant the holy name. Otherwise, such a heart is a steel-framed heart. So like that, they give thorough gali and they complete the section. And then later on, Parikshit Maharaj is very impressed with the answers that he got. He has now understood the question that he had asked in the first canto is answered. Now he proceeds ahead to ask some more questions. Thank you for your Harikatha, Gurudev, but I want to know how the Lord with his energies created this universe. And as soon as this question is asked, can we explain about Sarga, Visarga? I want to know about the creation. This question is asked, Sukadeva Goswami remembers something. You know what does he remember? He forgot to offer prayers. When we start Bhagavatam class, what do you do? Om Ajnana Timirandasya. Sukadeva Goswami got so spellbound by the question of Parikshit that he had forgotten to pray. So fourth chapter, he doesn't answer the question. No. He says, first let me pray. And the entire chapter is about wonderful prayers. Tapasvino danayasha parasvino manasvino yat vidasu mangala shemam chavindanti natamena tavakam tasmai shubhadra savase namo namah kirata hunandra pulinda pulkasha abhira shumbhaya vanakha sadaya yenne cha papa yadapashraya shraya shuddhanti tasmai prabha vishnave namah. So this entire section, he just keeps offering prayers. And this kirata hunandra prayer that I just now recited is a favorite prayer of Prabhupada. Because this shows kirat means those who are stayed. This is the hunter-like people. Hunas are the Germans. Andaka, the lower tribes. Hunata, Pulandra, Pulinda, Pulkashaha. Abhira Shumba, the Greeks, the Turks, the Chinese, the Mongols. All these people can be purified by the association of great devotees. And this is what Prabhupada's life is all about. He purified the entire verse. So this verse also refers to Srila Prabhupada. Correct? So like that, all these prayers he recites and concludes the fourth chapter. And the fifth chapter, he says that I would like to narrate to you about creation by quoting a samvada, a discussion that happened between Narad Muni and Brahma. So as Brahma was sitting on the top of a lotus and he was meditating, at that point of time, Narad Muni comes and he says, "Oh my father, I see you that you are absolutely not attached to anything of this world. I don't find any cause superior to you. I see you are like a spider who may create a web but never gets entangled in its own web. So I think you are God. Please enlighten me." And then Brahma just laughs and laughs. Just see the power of the illusory energy of Krishna, that you can even consider a Jivatma like me to be God. So he's like, "Oh, please understand, Narada, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not me. I myself am created. The flower, the lotus flower on which I am sitting has a cause." And as soon as he says this, Narad Muni is then very eager. Acha, you are not the creator? Creator का क्या Google किया था, आपको ही नाम निकला. Google, Wikipedia, everyone is telling you are the creator. Yes, Brahma is the creator. We say, no? Brahma says, no, that is not the correct. Really, if that is not correct, I want to know. You have to tell me. You have to tell me 6 things. So he asks him 6 questions. Now again 6 questions. Har jagah 6 questions. In Bhagavatam, you find like this question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, Bhagavatam. So he asks 6 questions, but don't worry so much about the question because the answer is one thing only. Answer is one. Questions are many, but answer is only one. So what questions he asks? He says, please tell us who gave the form to this universe? What is the form of this universe? Second question, well, we want to know who is the shelter of this universe. Number 3, who created this universe? Then who gave the ingredients to this universe? And unto whom the universe merges after the destruction? And final question is, whom does the universe depend upon? Na, ra, ya, na. That's the answer given. Finished. Easy, na? 6 question mushkil hai. But the answer was Narayan, 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 Narayan. 6. So that's how he gives. So then Narada is very impressed. And he asks Brahmaji to please narrate some Leela of Narayan. I want to hear some pastimes. And just like in the first canto, 3rd chapter, we heard 22 incarnations. Similarly, in this chapter also, you see that Brahmaji also narrates all the same incarnations once again to Narada. So incarnations of Lord come 2 times. Yes. So here he very nicely interacts with Narada and speaks pure pastime of all the incarnations about whom we are going to hear in the rest of the canto. And thus Narad Muni is very happy. And Parikshit also is happy. So now like this 7 chapters are complete. 2nd canto has only 10, don't worry. And then 8th chapter, Parikshit Maharaj is inspired. The 8th chapter is full of questions of Parikshit. Full. And he asks 21 questions. Babre. And these 21 questions will form our concepts of Bhagavatam till 3rd canto, chapter number 11. Tab tak ke questions pooch liye, everything he asks. Till that, all questions are asked by Parikshit Maharaj. In fact, even after that also. In one sense, till the end of 3rd canto. So like that he asks. In fact, 3rd ke 4th bhi bol sakte hain hum log. But that triggers everything. That triggers the Bhagavatam. That is why the 8th chapter is called Questions of Parikshit. Because from then on, the entire Bhagavatam flows as it is. There is no specific question asked. After so, jitne question the sare pooch de ek chapter mein. After that, then within the chapter, kuch Leela mein kuch question hai, to bhi poochte hain. And then what questions are important for us to know? Those questions there are only 4 questions. And the answer to these 4 questions were given directly by Krishna to Brahma. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Surya. So then in the 9th chapter, some questions are answered in one line, everything, but to answer these 4 questions, the important questions, our Shukadev Goswami, he quotes from the samvad that happened between Brahma and Krishna. So Brahma and Krishna, the conversation that they had, that is, Brahma had completed his penance and his tapasya. And after he had come, Lord was very happy. And that was the first universal handshake. We say, come on, don't shake hands. This is not Vedic. No, Karasprashan. This is completely Vedic. And this is the first exchange that they had. Well done. I'm very happy with your tapasya. So Brahmaji was born in ignorance. He was not able to find out his root, his source. He tried. He came almost till Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu was smiling also. You will not be able to find me. Then he goes back and sits. And that time he hears, Tapa, Tapa. Okay, I have to meditate. So he sits and starts meditating intensely. And after, as a result of that tapasya, Lord comes and shakes hand. Thank you. You followed my instructions. And then he asks, what do you want? Please ask whatever benedictions you want. And the Lord says, but actually, let me tell you, the greatest benediction you can ever get is to see my form, which you already got. Mil chuka hai already, fir bhi pucho, kya chahiye? Then all Brahmaji says is, please, oh my Lord, I'm going to do a very important service for you, but I should not be entangled with false pride. This is one benediction that I want. And apart from that, I want to hear the answer to these 4 questions that we had. Now, what are those 4 questions? So Lord himself says very clearly what I'm going to give you. Jnanam paramaguhyam me Yad vijnana samanvitam sarahasyam tadangam cha grihana gaditam maya. So these are the 4 questions asked by Parikshit Maharaj. What is jnana? Knowledge. Number 2, what is vijnana? What is scientific knowledge? Or what is realized knowledge? Third is rahasyam, the confidential knowledge. And fourth is angam, the component of knowledge. So these 4 things are answered in a beautiful conversation between Krishna and Brahma, which is called as Chatushloki Bhagavatam. Now many of them say Chatushloki Bhagavatam matlab itna hi samvad hua dono mein. It's wrong. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Acharya very clearly says Krishna actually spoke all the 12 cantos to Brahma, and then he summarized those 12 cantos with 4 shlokas. That is Chatushloki Bhagavatam. And the first question is about jnana. What is jnana? The knowledge. What is it? So knowledge is about the supremacy of God. Aham evasam evagre nanyad yassat asat param. Please understand that I was there before the creation, and I will remain after the creation, and I am the source of creation. This is knowledge. Same knowledge is given in Bhagavad Gita also. Aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravartate iti matma bhajante ma buddha bhava samanvita. This is also given. Same knowledge. The Chatushloki of Bhagavatam and Chatushloki of Gita have a lot of similarities. The second one, question, is I want to know about your Vijnana. What is that realized knowledge? The realized knowledge of Vijnana is about knowledge about Krishna's energies. Riteyartam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tadvidyat atmano maya yathabhaso yathatamah. So please understand that anything you see in this world, splendorous, marvelous and wonderful, know the source to be me. And if you are not able to see the source, then understand it to be Maya, that which is not. You are only able to see the shadow. Shadow means obviously there has to be a person, an object, a light source. And when an object comes, the shadow is there only because there is a light source and an object. Without that, there cannot be shadow. But if somebody is only seeing the shadow, what is he seeing? Maya. And then what is exactly the rahasyam? The rahasyam is actually the raganuga bhakti. The raga bhakti, that is the rahasya. Yatha mahanti bhutani pravisthani cha pravisthani. Please understand that in all material elements, I have entered. And at the same time, I'm not there. So a devotee's vision, a pure devotee's vision is he sees Krishna in everything and everywhere. So that is why this raganuga bhakti is called as. Because the devotee, Krishna mai, Krishna yara bhitare bahire, jahan jahan nitra pade, taha Krishna spure. Is able to see Krishna everywhere. That's why it's called as rahasyam. Then fourth is angam. Angam is sadhana bhakti. What is how to do that? Etava deva jijnasam tattva jijnasunatmanah anvayad vyaktirekabhyam yatsat sarvatra sarvada. Please understand that sadhana bhakti is about etavad eva jijnasam. Have such kind of inquiries. Tattva jijnasunatmanah. You should be eager for that. And study Anvaya Vyatireka. Anvaya Vyatireka will take a lot of time. I will not explain that. But Yatsyat Sarvatra Sarvada. Understand this is the process which can be performed by anyone, anywhere, yes, at any time. That is actually something which is sadhana bhakti. You cannot tell me, chalo, tomorrow onwards you all will practice ragana bhakti. We cannot prescribe that to someone. But sadhana bhakti is a process which you can prescribe. So this beautifully concludes the conversation between them. And then the later part of the description goes on to describing the spiritual world, the Vaikunta Loka, the Saptah Dwaram, the 7 gates. Who are all the two personalities on each gate? Jai Vijay being the last gatekeepers on the 7th gate. How do the residents look in 400 form? What color they have? The same color as the Lord. What are the wonderful activities they do? Lakshmi, Sahasra, Sata, Sambrama, Sevimanam. So all these aspects about the spiritual world is described in 2nd canto, 9th chapter also. And comes in 3rd canto, 15th chapter also later on. After this, then the 2nd canto, 10th chapter, this is considered to be like the summary of the entire Bhagavatam. Just like chapter 2 of the Gita is called Contents of Gita Summarized, we can say canto 2 as Contents of Bhagavatam Summarized. And especially the prime summary being in the 10th chapter. It speaks about the 10 subject matters of Bhagavatam, which I'm going to tell you right now in brief. The first canto is introduction. The 2nd canto is summary. The third canto mostly, see, Jeev Goswami and Acharyas say like that all 10 subjects are available in all cantos. But some, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, some canto emphasize more on one particular subject. So the third canto describes Sarga. Sarga means the creation done by Vishnu. It's called Sarga. Srishti. And the fourth canto speaks about Visarga. Visarga is the creation done by Brahma or Prajapatis. The fifth canto speaks about Sthana. Sthana means the positioning of the different living entities as per their karma. The sixth canto speaks about Poshanam. Poshanam is the maintenance of Lord despite mischievous activities by the living entity. There's a suffix to it, not just maintenance. You be naughty, you'll find 6 canto overall there. I will not get to speak, so I'll speak something. कुछ तो बोलूंगा. There's Ajamil, गड़बड़ किया था, फिर भी भगवान ने maintain किया. Yes, there's Chitraketu, he also did some गड़बड़, and by commenting casually on Shiva, and Krishna still maintained him. We find Indra, he also comes in that canto. He had done a lot of mischief there. Now offends Brihaspati, and then later on runs from pillar to post, but still protected by the Lord, given shelter. The sixth canto like this. So you will find different personalities who are given Poshanam. So they are all maintained. So that is this chapter, that you have hope, don't worry. So seventh canto is about Utaya. Utaya is impetus. Now Prahlad, Hiranyakashipu, same Vamsha, they both are Daityas. But Krishna says in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Prahladas Chasmi Daityanam. I am the Prahlad Maharaj among the Daityas. On the other hand, Hiranyakashipu is Naradhava. Narottam Naradham. Based on what? The desires that you generate. Utihi. Seventh canto. The eighth canto is Manvantras. The different periods. I mean, all the 14 Manvantras are summarized in the eighth canto. Ninth canto is Isha Anu Katha. There are 3 words actually. Isha is who? Isha is about the Lord. Anu is the followers of Lord. So that means about devotees. And Katha means there are pastimes. So many pastimes. So one after the other, kitne sare pastimes hai. You cannot count. I don't know how. I'm not worried because I'm not going to speak that. So the person will cover. Then the next topic is Nirodha. Nirodha is dissolution. That comes in 12th canto. 12th canto is Nirodha. We will discuss about 4 types of pralay. What is Prakritik pralay? What is Naimittika pralay? What is Atyantik pralay? What is Nitya pralay? These 4 pralays are discussed. That's why it is called as Nirodha. Muktihi. Mukti is established in the 11th canto. Krishna speaking to Uddhava. So there he talks about Paramaham Sthiti. So the 11th canto, entire 11th canto, there is almost about from canto 11, 7th chapter, Uddhava Gita starts. It goes on practically till 28, 29. So many chapters are there. More than Gita. Yes. And then 10th canto is something that is the real sum and substance of Bhagavatam, which is called the Ashraya Tattva, the shelter. And everyone else is Ashrita Tattva. Ashray, Ashrita. There is Ashrit Tattva, all other 9s. It is like the purpose of the 9 cantos is to glorify the 10th canto. Navanam Iha Lakshanam. So ultimately, all the 9 subject matters glorify the Ashraya Tattva. The example which is given is, suppose we have deities. And now in our homes, I don't know, but in temple we have deities, we have spotlights from the top. So the deities are beautiful. How many of you taken darshan of deities on the Kartik Yatra time? There we turn off all the lights and only lamps. Have you taken darshan? Yeah, they look very beautiful. But when you put the spotlights, the beauty adds more. They know we need to put on the kapola, on the cheeks and chin. These 3 places we set the lights for the deities. Then the beauty enhances. So Ashraya Tattva is like the face of the deity, and the spotlights are the other 9 cantos. Or another example that is given is introduction. Now, for example, I'm going to take Rajat Prabhu to America, and I want to introduce Rajat Prabhu. So Rajat Prabhu is from IIT. They may not know what is IIT, may not be. So I'll glorify IIT. I'll first glorify IIT, then glorify Rajat Prabhu. So they'll be able to understand his glory. So other 9 cantos are like glorifying the 10th canto. You understand the purpose of 9 cantos. It is like telling about IIT first so that I can glorify Rajat Prabhu. So ultimately, all 9 cantos exist only to glorify the 10th canto. Yes, so the 9 subject matters prepare you gradually for the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. So thus we complete 2nd canto. Now in 5 minutes, I'll complete half of 3rd canto, promise. कैसे करूंगा? Magic. जादू. So now after hearing so many, Parikshit Maharaj, few questions are answered. 21 में से थोड़े ही आंसर हुए हैं. Yes, few of his, almost like 8 questions are answered about in my knowledge. The other questions Parikshit Maharaj doesn't want to hear now. Mood में नहीं. I want to know what happened to Vidura. I'm very interested to know Vidura. उसको उनके साथ क्या हुआ था? What had happened? You told he left and he came, but in between that what happened? I want to know that. And Shukdev Goswami smiles. Sir, आप हंस क्यों रहे हैं गुरुदेव? That is because even this what happened. So actually, the Sutta Goswami and the Shaunakadi Rishis, they say we are bored. They say we are bored first, and then Sutta Goswami smiles. I just messed up a little bit, and he says even Parikshit Maharaj was bored. He said, "I want to hear something else." Yes, I said, "All right." The beauty is you're all in sync. Let's hear something else. So then the entire camera and focus shifts to Vidura. So Vidura is pierced by Karna Bhanir. He is pierced by the arrows of Duryodhan, and thus he keeps his bow outside and he leaves. We know that part. So keeping the bow outside signifies that he says, now I'm going to go Tirth Yatra. अरे बहुत पक गया था management से. I want to do sadhana. I posted Ariyama and then became Yamraj came as Vidura, Dasi Putra. But my purpose was to do some nice sadhana. But ये लोगों ने management में डाल दिया मेरे को. No, I'll peacefully do my sadhana. For my sadhana, I don't need this bow. The second reason is, hey Duryodhan, don't think I'm going to go and join the party of Pandavas. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to fight at all. So he leaves that and he goes to Tirth Yatra. So first he goes to Prabhasa Kshetra. And there Prabhasa Kshetra, he meets Uddhava. And they both have a very, very heart-rending exchange. And Vidura makes several inquiries. And from there he learns that the Yadus have had a fratricidal war. And thus they've exterminated each other. And also the disappearance of the Lord. And this disappearance produces Viraha. And Uddhava discusses various pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan and out of Vrindavan. And Uddhava says that Krishna, Vidura, you're so fortunate that Krishna considered your home to be his own home. He used to just walk into Vidura's home and put his feet on Vidura's lap as pillow. Chalo, massage. Like that, he had a relationship with Vidura. Yes, mere ghar hai. He used to walk in, this is my home. And he used to put his feet, chalo, massage karo. Like that, he used to ask service. That is the sweetness. And he just told that while Krishna left, he remembered you. That's it. Vidura cries tears. There's a very heart-rending session. And he says, what did Krishna leave the last message from me? So he said, I can tell you the last message. But when Krishna was present and giving the last message, there was one more sage with us. His name is Maitreya. Maitreya Rishi is a classmate of Parashar Muni. He's a student. So he's a student and classmate of Vyas. He's a student of Parashar Muni. He's a great soul. He's senior to me. So Maryada Vartikrama. It will be a Maryada Vartikrama if I speak in his presence. So I request you to go and get this knowledge, what Krishna wanted to give you from Maitreya Rishi. So you go there. So then there's a lot of eagerness created. That now, okay, Vidurasya Malatmanaha. So now Vidura and Maitreya are going to have a samvad. It's going to be really exciting, interesting. Please tell us, what is that? So Vidura also glorifies Maitreya after reaching to Mayapuri. Mayapuri is Haridwar. It's one of the 7 Puris. One of the Puris, Mayapuri. So he reaches there and he meets Maitreya and he just surrenders to get knowledge. Janasya Krishna Vimukasya Devad Adharmashirasya Sudukkitasya Anugraha Heha Chanti Nunam Bhutani Bhagyani Janardhanasya. So he glorifies Maitreya very much. And Maitreya also has a lot of appreciation for Vidura. He's having connection to the great Pandavas, having connection to Krishna. And then their inquiries start in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which we are going to be seeing tomorrow. Hare Krishna. So tomorrow we'll see the next part of the 3rd canto. I'm not going to touch much on Kapila's section. Kapila's section, one question, prominent question, one answer. Plus, itna hi rahega. And tomorrow I have to complete 4th also. Varna he will not be able to do. So 4th contains 3 major pastimes. How it happens is, the 3rd canto contains Gunamai Bhakti. The Bhakti in Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And those 3 examples are given in the next canto. That's all. That's how the 4th canto ends. Thank you all very much. for your very enthusiastic participation, and you all gave wonderful answers also in the beginning. So thank you all very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam for my own purification. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. ग्रंथ राज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की,